Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined again with my producer extraordinaire, Dante. How are you today?
We're good. We're chilling.
Nice. And special congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs on winning the Super Bowl. That's a guess, as we were recording this before it came out, but this comes out afterwards. So, congrats, guys. Patrick Mahomes, you're on your way to being the greatest quarterback of all time. Nice, dude. Keep it up.
I love if we leave that in. They don't win.
I either look like the smartest person alive right now, or I'm a real dummy. So we are back. We're back to our normal routine here this week. Nothing to fucking talk about and just bullshitting our way through. Way to sell you on sticking around for the episode. With that being said, why don't you like the video? Drop a comment down below. Subscribe. We're going to make it through. We'll make it through together. If I can do it, you can do it. Yeah. R.I.P. Carl Weathers. R.I.P. Toby Keith. Never mind. I was going to ask if they get outdated. Because again, if this is coming out several days from now, it's
No, I think you can still wish them to rest in peace for an unlimited amount of time.
Yeah, and to be quite fair, deaths are dated.
Yeah.
They had a time when they happened.
Yeah, we can just throw out a R.I.P. Michael Jackson and we're still valid.
I don't think you can do that anymore. He's canceled?
No, he's not canceled.
Yo, he's canceled.
No, he's not.
A little canceled.
Nah.
A little canceled. Corey Feldman would tell you he's canceled.
Nah, what does he know?
Probably too much. And this is what we do when we have nothing to talk about. So again, tell a friend, ask a friend. And keep on listening. Why not? We got some news topics to jump into. We did another AMC Scream Unseen this week. Not appropriately named because, quite frankly, it wasn't scary. And then we got the taste test coming up at the end. But do you want to jump into some news, shall we, Dante?
Yes, sir. What you got for us?
Let's start here. Well, can you look up the name of the goofy-looking kid from Stranger Things for me? Fucking 2 seconds in, can't speak. Is it Gaten Matarazzo? Gatton
Matarazzo.
That was close. So I just wanted to say to this kid out there, not that he'll ever hear this, unless somebody sends this to him. I agree. So he said the show would be so much better if the stakes were higher. At any point, any of these kids can kick it. I feel like we're all too safe. And I feel like I've been saying this for a while with movies.
Yeah.
And TV. It's crazy. I'm going to get into this in the taste test later with some of the stuff I've been watching recently. But for all these major shows, I mean, I've talked about this to death, but he's so right. What made Game of Thrones fantastic for people was this idea that major characters could just fucking die. What makes some shows suck is this idea that you can die, but death's not real, and we know a season later, 2 seasons later, that you're gonna come back. I say that all except for The Walking Dead, which in my mind can do no wrong, and Rick's been dead for 10 years now, and he's gonna be back in less than a month, Dante. That's crazy, right? I don't want to segue as often to another Walking Dead thing, but we're 2 weeks out from a return of Rick, so.
I know you're pumped.
I'm counting days, Dante. I am counting hours, minutes, moments. I might have.
Don't say it.
Yep. Okay. My bad. Would you agree though? Would you agree about Stranger Things? You're a fan. It's one of the few things you're a fan of.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of in line with what you were saying, where it's just there's no real stakes, and he seems to be on the same board. I don't know. Is he asking to get killed off?
Which person would you kill off? And there's only one wrong answer.
Well, yeah, you can't kill off 11. Is that what you're saying?
Which one?
I say you can't kill off 11.
No, that's not who I was talking
about. Ah, really? Well, you can't kill the black kid either. He's the only one.
That's where I was kind of thinking. I was that'd be fucked up. There's one kid on that cast that seems pretty untouchable.
All right, so R.I.P. Will.
Yeah, he's probably the most expendable. I mean, because you can't kill off Dustin, right? The kid we're talking about.
No.
He's in a position where he can say that because he knows damn well they won't kill his character off.
He's a large part of the draw for the show.
Yeah, it's he'll never do anything else, but actually, I think he does have a couple shows. But
yeah, you can't say that.
but I don't know. He's never, to me, I just can't imagine him turning into like anything more than kind of like this being his biggest role. I feel like it's either Will or Mike. Both are options. Isn't Redhead Girl like basically dead?
I can't remember. You're the one that watched the show twice.
I never.
She was only in for
when
a
I
season,
rewatched.
right?
I didn't rewatch all of season 4. I have this thing where I start rewatching stuff, dude, and then I like
you get sidetracked and don't go back to it.
Yeah, I get like 2.5. Like I just did it with GG, dude. I got like 2.5 seasons in.
Call it GG, trying to make it cooler.
Dude, just let that slide.
Nah. Ladies and gentlemen, he is talking about Gossip Girl.
I got like 3 seasons and a couple episodes in, and I sidetracked myself onto all the other shows I've been watching, dude.
Oh, man.
All these cooler things.
All the other rom-coms? Is that what you're talking about?
No, that was actually the original thing. Yeah, you're right. That sidetracked me. But now it's just been like Harry Potter teenage like drama TV shows that rip-offs. Oh God.
No, this is great.
Yeah, I think that Will or Mike makes sense to kill off. I mean, 11 could die. Like, right, if they're not going to continue the show.
I like what the story would do if they killed off Mike and kind of 11 just goes wild.
Hasn't she already gone wild enough, though? Is she even old enough for that show?
I knew you were going to go there. I don't know, actually.
I mean, you could kill off, what's his name? Big guy.
Wait, you talking about Hopper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
But they already did that, too. Like, that's the thing. He says the show's too fake. It's like the show did kill somebody. They just brought him back, like, 2 episodes later into the next season.
Yeah.
And, like, I loved it. I loved Hopper coming back, you know? Great comeback from him. You could kill Winona. You could kill one of the older people, right?
Yeah. I want it to be somebody important, though.
You don't think the older people are important? Don't kill the girl, though.
Which girl?
Not 11. That'd be weird.
Yeah, no.
The one next to Hopper. Nancy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You got to keep Nancy around. Yeah, you could kill one of the 2 older ones, because I think the guy because she's in the weird, like, love triangle, right? So if you kill, like, the cool guy, who was kind of a dickhead for, like, the first couple seasons, but then I think he turned into the way cooler one of the 2 main guys, not Mike's brother.
Wait, they killed Billy, didn't they? They killed somebody.
Billy doesn't count. He was dead the second he walked onto the show.
All right.
Like, he's fucking main character. I think you got to kill one of the kids. It can't even be one of the older ones. And I think if you're going to kill one of the kids, it's got to be Mike or Chad.
Chad.
No, it's Will. Let us know out there, people. Are TV shows too safe these days? Are we not killing enough kids?
Oh, I mean, kill kids probably every day.
You do? Is that a confession? Okay, let's move on. Next piece of news. We got Tom Holland. Tom Holland made a post on X this week. And it was like, I have an announcement of like something I'm going to be working on. And like it sent the world into a tizzy of like speculation. Because he was wearing like red and black. He was like on a driving range. He was wearing red and black. People were like, oh my God, like Venom and Spider-Man colors, and like reading way too far into it. People were like Uncharted 2. It was none of the above. Have you seen what it is?
No.
Tom Holland is going to be starring in a new stage adaptation of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh?
You sound excited?
I just didn't see it going that way.
No, I didn't either. But like once you read it, you're like, well, he's definitely a Romeo. He wouldn't be a Juliet, but like,
I mean, there was that one video.
Which one?
The one where he was like dancing in a dress.
Don't remember it. Must be in your algorithm.
No, it was like the dancing thing that he did with like Zendaya, where she was like dressed as a dude and he was dressed as a chick or some shit.
Oh, you know what it was? It was a lip sync battle thing, wasn't it?
I think so. Actually,
yeah, I think it was a lip sync battle. Maybe he did like a virgin or something.
It wasn't like a virgin, but I can't remember which song.
Was he Madonna or Tina Turner?
We're not.
Which one? So I think he kind of works in the role. It's probably going to be really good. I don't know if it's going to get like a TV or a movie release because it's a state adaptation. So it's something people are going to have to go see live. I like the idea of like like big actors going to like the theater route for a short period of their career.
What do you mean?
Like going and like performing live.
Okay, yeah, like Broadway kind of thing.
Like I think that's not like I'm sure it's actually an avenue that's actually explored more than I realize it, because you do quite often hear about like in New York like these actors doing like a 6-month run on some stage like show or something, and we're just not like, first of all, like we're not in that niche for one, but also like I think if you're in New York or in one of those like more like big like theater areas, you're probably more aware. I feel like New York is really the biggest epicenter for that stuff.
Yeah.
That you probably do realize that there's a lot more large actors just showing up for short periods of time to play roles. But I'd almost like appreciate that more. I think part of it being like a wrestling fan too, of like being able to see these live performances, and it's just way more of a raw thing. It's way more like exposed, you know, there's less things to cover up in doing that. And there's more real time like feedback that they get from the crowd, and you can see them evolve a role day over day and stuff. So I think I would like to see more of an opportunity to like get these like big actors like going into this
You
route.
say that, but is that something you would go to?
If it's the right show. I really wanted to, when I was in New York, go to the Cursed Child, the Harry Potter one that they had. But it was like sold out the whole time I was there, and it's pretty expensive for tickets. Okay. I think that would be the drawback for me, is it's like it's not going to the movies where it's like an inexpensive ticket to buy. You know, it's kind of costly. And I think that's the only drawback for me in it. But I think if it was the right show, the right story, with the right actor, that I was like, I'd really love to see this guy. Like, I'm never going to see this person in person. You know, it's kind of like going to concerts.
Okay.
Where it's like, oh, these people are in town right now. There's a chance that I like wouldn't see them, and they're larger than life. You know, that'd be really cool to see them acting on a stage in a room with me and 500 other people. Like,
you want like a small...
I mean, you're not going to get like it's not in a stadium. You know, it's not like a Taylor Swift concert when it's in Gillette and it's like you and 40,000 other people watching it. It is a lot more of like a intimate, like unique experience. Maybe it's 1,200, maybe it's 2,000, but it's not like you're there. Like you are there and you're close enough to feel and experience it. You're not watching it on a board in the middle of an arena, you know? So yeah, I think I'd be interested in seeing it. There's one other piece of Tom Holland news. And this is something that I was hoping you could give me some insight on, because I didn't watch this.
You gonna say Danny Phantom?
Yeah. Yeah. Help me out.
You never watched it?
No.
I don't know. It's a show about a kid who's half ghost, half human, and fights crime or some shit.
See, because I kind of thought this was part of the Fairly Odd Parents universe when I read it.
The art style looks very similar, but no, it's not.
Were you a fan?
Yeah, I definitely watched it. I haven't watched it in years, so as you can see, my memory on it's a little shaky.
Would Tom Holland be your dream Danny Phantom casting?
In a live action? I mean, it's tough to say, because, like, I guess, yeah. He can kind of fit that persona, because...
So I need you to remember some of this show. Like, what would a live action movie be like of this show?
I mean, they're high school kids, right? So, like, I don't know if Tom Holland's maybe a little too old for that at this point.
He's gonna have his boyish charm for a while.
Yeah.
I saw a video from Leo on the Titanic set when he was filming a scene, and it was just like, dude, like he looks the same, obviously, like he's just like 30 years older now, but like the youthfulness of him on that set versus like the guy that you kind of see on screen today is just like they're two different people. It's kind of crazy. So I think like at some point Tom Holland's gonna be like a completely different guy as far as the roles he chooses and things. But like right now, I think till he's 30, he could play a fucking high schooler. He just has that like boyish look to him.
Yeah, baby face.
Although he did get like Jack Diesel for fucking Uncharted.
Yeah, but I mean, actors do it all the time where they change their body physique. As long as his face stays looking young, like I could see where it would play. Yeah,
people thought that something was wrong with Robert Downey Jr. before Oppenheimer like got announced, because they were like he looked like frail and like he had like gray hair and shit like that, and like there was like, no, you're just getting ready for a role.
Yeah.
So you were saying he's a high school kid. What goes on in it? Like, what does he do? Does he die in the show and he becomes like half ghost? Like, what happens?
No, I can't remember exactly, but it was like something with like I think his parents were like ghost hunters or some shit, and they had like a machine that like zapped him and fucking turned him into like half ghost or whatever. He can like turn it on, turn it off, kind of thing.
And was he using the ghost powers for like creepy reasons? Like, what was he doing?
No. I mean, he's using it to fight ghosts that like kind of get in from like that other realm into like the human world and send them back, kind of shit.
Okay. And then like his parents would capture them.
I don't know if his parents were in on it because I want to say he was hiding it from them. Like they don't know.
They always just hide it from their parents.
Yeah. Like it's his alter ego, I guess, so to speak.
What are some Disney and like Nickelodeon shows that you'd like to see live action adaptations of? I have one in mind right now.
Kim Possible.
Bring back Ren.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that wasn't the one I had in mind. Is that you have any other ones?
Drawing a blank right now. What do you got?
I think the Wild Thornberries would be cool.
That would be interesting.
Like I think there's some cool things you could do with that.
Yeah.
Right? Like as far as like, you know, child movie, like, you know, kid movie action type deal with some adult appeal to it.
Yeah.
I think
I
you
mean,
could do
because
something.
like it's kind of like the audience has grown up, and like if they build a movie for like that kind of niche audience, I guess it could be something
a little bit of
interesting.
nostalgia, cast the appropriate actors that can draw some adult appeal in, but then have a decent amount of it orientated towards like, you know, the jokes and stuff like that are more kid friendly, like the Jumanji stuff, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see the Dora the Explorer live action movie, so I
They
can't
made
really
one.
compare.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, can you check when that came out? Are there any other ones? I didn't like. I don't know. I fell off so much on that stuff. I feel like I fell out of like the cartoon phase of my life fairly early. Aside from like I moved on to like the CW cartoons. Like of course I watched like a lot of the DC stuff, and then like I watched like Yu-Gi-Oh growing up. But I fell off of like the Disney Nickelodeon stuff like probably by the age of like 10 or 11. So
I would say I kind of switched over to Cartoon Network around that age.
See, I don't even like all my friends love a lot of the shit that came out on like either it was you know, Adult Swim or, you know, the Cartoon Network.
Well, they also had like that segment that came on right after school, Toonami, that had things like Batman Beyond.
Yeah, so like Batman Beyond would be dope. I don't really consider that in my like live action adaptation idea. I think everybody's always dreamt of that, getting some type of live action adaptation.
Yeah,
I'm thinking more talking to those kid shows, right? And I don't think like Doug works. No. Rugrats wouldn't work.
Maybe Hey Arnold.
But like how? Like that would have to be a TV show.
It would be like a sitcom.
I don't know if I'd play for me.
No.
Just make it a cartoon again. To a point then. Because I think like you can't make a football head kid.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of lose that, and that's a big thing with the show, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so that came out in 2019?
Yeah.
Wow, that's way more recent than I thought. Who played Dora? Is it somebody who's turned into like a relatively known actress?
Isabella Merced.
I recognize the name. Okay, so she's in Madam Web.
Oh yeah.
She's one of the Web girls. Madame Web's girls.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other, because they did like Speed Racer back in the day, like what, in like 12, 13 with the Mil Hirsch, and like that was pretty terrible. They tried a lot of them. Like maybe you do like Johnny Bravo.
Does that play now?
Maybe. Carmen Sandiego.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, that could be cool. This has nothing to do with anything, Dante. But I wanted to ask you this. We can move away from talking about. Let us know out there if there's any shows that we missed that you'd like to see that were cartoons from when we were kids. Because obviously, like we're getting The Lion King. Like we got a SpongeBob live action thing, didn't we? We just got The Little Mermaid. Like Disney's tried doing a bunch of stuff when we were little that were live action. But what are some TV shows that you'd like to see made into live action stuff now? The thing I wanted to ask you, Dante, and this is just like something that was a video game that turned into a movie. Do you remember the Need for Speed movie that came out like
Oh yeah,
6-7 years ago.
there's been talks of a sequel, like pretty much since it came out, and like there's no confirmation on it, and I've been kind of pissed.
Is it with Aaron Paul attached?
Uh, so there's no like confirmed details on it because it's basically just a rumor.
And so I'm taking that as you liked it.
I love that movie. Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it again. It's on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
I got intrigued because it's on my wish list in my Vudu. It's just something like I have a bunch of stuff there in case it's on sale for the right price that I would like buy it at some point. If it's like $7 or something, I just kind of buy shit.
Yeah.
But then I was like, what I'll do a lot of times, 'cause I've been burned by this too many times when things go on sale and I'm getting ready to buy it, I'll be like, maybe I should just check if I have this for what I already pay for things, you know? So I went to buy it and then I was like, let me double check. And it was on Paramount Plus. I haven't watched it in a very long time.
Do you remember your initial impression?
It's okay. Like I don't think it's like great. But I don't think I think I remember the critical reaction being not that positive. I didn't remember it making that much money. So that's where I'm a little surprised at the sequel thing.
That might be why it died in the water, you know what I mean?
And especially like when you get this far away from something that like I could, if you're gonna do it, you'd reboot at this point. But yeah, I remember it being okay.
Sorry, trying to get box office numbers, but
they did have a decent cast.
It made 203.
Cost 60.
Budget.
66, dude. You can just kind of tell at the like, or at least we talk about this enough now that you can just kind of tell from the type of movie it was, like what the budget should be.
Yeah.
So it probably made 90 mil.
So it was a successful movie.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Like it's about as good as I would expect a Need for Speed movie to do. But I think that the fear you have is when you only made that much money on the first one, the reason a sequel might not have come from it is that like you'd only expect a little. You'd have some type of a decrease on a sequel, not an increase on the revenue, unless you
because like, do I really want to watch them do another cannonball run?
Yeah,
they
like
kind of have to turn the whole story, I guess.
They're not going to make it more expensive, right? Like
yeah.
You also, because you're kind of invading the fact that like Fast and Furious, the first couple had stolen, I think, a lot of what Need for Speed would have done.
Yeah.
Because Need for Speed, so how many of the Need for Speed games have you played?
I haven't played too many of the more recent ones. Like I played Need for Speed Heat, but I played like a lot of the original, like Hot Pursuit 2, Most Wanted, Underground 2.
So Most Wanted is the one where it's like the storyline and you're an undercover cop. Is that one?
No, you're not an undercover cop. It's like you're trying to race your way to the, or maybe you are an undercover cop.
I think it's like the cutscenes play out like a movie, don't they?
Yeah.
That one I think might be the best storyline of any of them.
I mean, that is one of the ones that they hold kind of in the highest regard when they're talking about like the Need for Speed video game franchise. That and Underground. I
mean, Underground because of the customization aspects, though.
Yeah.
Right. Like, Hot Pursuit has the nostalgia because the police chases, the shortcuts, like all of that stuff was so like revolutionary for its time. It felt so fresh and cool, like when it came out. And like when the Lamborghini got busted out to chase you down or something, like it was just like a whole other world, right? Like it felt so crazy. And it didn't need the open world or anything to rely on to make it cool. But Most Wanted, and then Underground added in this element of Fast and Furious, right? Like all of a sudden you could customize cars and do all these cool things like paint jobs, accessories, shit like that. And then I feel like Most Wanted was where they nailed like a storyline execution.
Yeah, Most Wanted, they nailed it. And then right after that, they jumped out of the street racing thing and went to like Need for Speed, what was it, Pro Street?
They tried to go to like,
they tried to go like to like legit like track racing,
Gran Turismo
racing on the street kind of thing.
Yeah, they wanted to be like Gran Turismo and Forza.
I don't know if something happened to like have them like turn the tides like that, because they just all of a sudden were like, no, we do not support street racing.
Well,
because that was like part of what like the intro title screen would tell you, like, yo, if you want to race, you take it to a track.
Maybe something happened, but I also think that like there was a world where like sim racing maybe was getting more accessible into people's homes.
I don't really feel like that got popular probably until like 15 years ago though.
So when did the pro racer game, Pro Street?
Let me see.
Look up.
I want to say that was like maybe like 2007.
Look up the Need for Speed anthology.
Anthology? I don't even actually know what that word means.
It should just be like the list of all the games.
Ah, I see. Oh, so after Most Wanted, they did Carbon, and then they did Pro Street in 2007.
Keep going. What was, name off some of the other ones in between that up to Heat.
Undercover.
Undercover's the cop one.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Undercover
yeah,
was
right.
good. Most Wanted was good too, but Undercover I think was the one I really enjoyed the storyline for.
Because that was the one that actually played out like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the one I remember. Because like, there's like the real time cutscenes where like the car flips and you have to like get out of the car before it.
Oh yeah, like all the reaction time based stuff.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to remember. Any other interesting ones?
No, a lot of bullshit between then and then when we get to Heat. They did like the remake of Hot Pursuit. They tried to remake Most Wanted, which flopped.
Like Heat is a lot of fun. Heat was fun to just kind of jump on and like drive around and hop into stuff, but I don't think it had like the depth to it to make it as interesting. And then the last one was like Bound, right?
Unbound, yeah.
Unbound.
That was the one with all the weird like graphics and stuff.
Yeah, they went like cartoony with the colors.
They tried to remake Heat, but it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
I played it for like maybe an hour and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch Need for Speed. Maybe I'll come back with that on the taste test next week. Maybe I'll watch more racing stuff. That could just be an excuse to watch Fast and Furious again.
The problem is there's just not that much in that genre, and that's why I always say what I say about Fast and Furious switching to more of an action franchise and away from the cars.
Can I give you a racing homework?
Yeah, what do you got?
The movie Torque.
I've already seen it. And that's bikes, not cars.
Yeah, it's still racing.
But
I said racing.
It is a really good movie, yeah.
When they
because didn't that come out like right after Fast and Furious? Because I feel like they made some hints to it in that movie.
It's along the same line, yeah. It's like 2000. I think it was probably
like I want to say there were some like fourth wall references to Fast and Furious in that movie.
I think it's right around Biker Boys too. But
Biker Boys was definitely the more enjoyable one for me, but Torque is definitely still a really good movie.
Well, here's the thing. I think it depends what you want. Because like Biker Boys is the more dramatic, legitimate racing movie.
Yeah.
Torque is more like Need for Speed.
Yeah, like gives you a storyline with it.
Yeah, and it's like absurd. Like Torque is ridiculous. They have the dueling bikes thing where like they do the wheelies and are fighting,
and, like, smacking each other. Yeah,
that's very funny. Like super unrealistic, but very funny. Yeah, watch Torque again, Dante. I don't know.
All right.
All right, moving on. Got a couple more small pieces of news to get into, and then we will Bailey. We gotta figure this out. Our one moment of show. So James Cameron,
your boy.
I don't want to say anything mean. I think this guy's a fucking idiot. I don't know.
I don't want to say anything mean. This guy's a fucking idiot.
Like not on a personal level. I love some things he's done. We talked Titanic. Terminator obviously is great. But one thing I've talked about constantly on there that I fucking hate is the movie Avatar.
Yeah.
I hate this movie. And I've never watched the second one.
After the first one, I decided I had no interest.
I've given too many hours of my day to the first Avatar.
What do you mean by that?
Too many hours of my life. I've watched it like 3 times.
Why?
Well, so I saw it in the theaters because it was like visually revolutionary. Like this is the thing that you have to appreciate about it, and you have to always be complimentary about it. At the time, it was astounding from a visual representation. So I saw it in the movies, and then I got my first 4K 3D TV. I got this TV in like 2014. So this was like early 4K. When the TVs were way too expensive. And my grandparents got it, and I wanted to show them something that like could show them what the TV was capable of. I wanted to watch something in 3D, so we watched Avatar. And what a fucking snooze fest it was again. It's always so bad, dude. You just like the visuals like are fine, but like it's just nothing interesting except for like the fight maybe towards the end. But yeah, fuck it. My main point in bringing this up is this guy comes out and he's like, I have ideas for Avatar 6 and 7. Brother, let's get through 3 and 4 first, maybe. This thing started, what, 13 years ago now? You ain't even on 3. And we're talking about 6 and 7. You're gonna be dead by the time 6 and 7 start coming out. You keep going down to the Titanic, we might have an issue. We might never see these things. I get that it makes money. And he did say, I'll probably be handing the baton off at this point. I mean, mortality catches up, so he knows he's gonna die. I don't want to wish that. That's mean. I'm going too far. It's jokes, people. It's fucking jokes. I don't really mean it, but yeah, he's 70 years old and he's planning for movies 6 and 7. At the rate that he is coming out with movies, Dante, we are still another 15 to 20 years out from the next movie. This man wants to be 90 pushing out avatars. Why?
Well, no, he said he'd hand the baton off.
Does he have kids?
Let's see. Looks like 4.
Any of them directors?
Only 2 of them have a picture, and they're just credited as his daughters. So no.
Okay. I just would have thought like maybe you hand it off to your kids. That'd be an interesting thing to do. Yeah, I don't know. Like, but why? Why, right? Why? Why? Why are we still doing this? Do you want to see it?
No.
Are you going to watch the third one?
I didn't even watch the second one.
Are they going to have they finished filming the third one?
I think so.
To come out this year?
I think so. Like end of the year, like a December release. Yeah. Oh, next year. So maybe they're not done filming yet.
Okay. And have they? Can you see if they finished filming or if they're filming 4 currently?
They filmed parts of it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was just my only thing. Why? More interesting things. So we already made the joke, or I made the joke at the beginning of the episode about the Super Bowl. Obviously, so we're recording this pre-Sunday. Super Bowl is happening this weekend. Big thing that comes along with the Super Bowl is trailers. There's a lot of suspected trailers that we're going to get this week, and I wanted to get your thoughts and maybe get a quick ranking on your level of excitement to see trailers for these movies, Dante.
Okay.
Yeah? Ready? You don't seem excited. The first one they list is one I know neither one of us give a fuck, so we can basically skip it, but they have Wicked.
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's Wicked about?
A witch.
Okay.
It's the Wicked Witch of the West, right?
Sure. I saw like another thing that was like, we're probably not going to get the Wicked trailer, but this thing here originally had that they were going to put it out. So Knuckles.
What's that? Oh,
Sonic 3.
They're going to give us, okay, yeah.
So a Sonic 3 trailer. Deadpool 3. Okay. Inside Out 2. A Quiet Place Day 1. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a new trailer for that.
Okay.
So what's getting you excited from this list? What's the most excited you get from any of these?
I mean, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I mean, I'm already excited for it. We already seen a trailer for it. I don't know if I'm clamoring to see another trailer because I don't want to give away too much of the movie. What were the other ones you said?
So I would say you had Knuckles.
Oh, Knuckles is probably the next one I'm most excited about.
So not Deadpool 3?
I mean, Deadpool 3 will be good, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I'm more excited for Knuckles.
I think Deadpool 3, if they give us like 30 seconds and it's like just him and Logan and you get like a taste for what that's going to look like together, is going to be the one that's most talked about.
I mean, as far as like what's going to be most talked about, yeah, probably that. But like, you asked what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm just throwing around thoughts, dude. My bad. You know, just tossing around some ideas. Tossing around the old pigskin of ideas for the Super Bowl. Inside Out 2.
I mean,
Doesn't do anything for you?
I didn't see the first one, so I know it's supposed to be a good movie, but
you should watch it. I've only seen it once. It's like got that. It's the one of those perfect Pixar formulas.
Okay.
Where it's pretty funny, but it also can make you really depressed and sad.
Okay.
You know, it'll be a little bit of a tear jerker for a moment.
Yeah.
For a moment. You know, and then that comes back around with like the uplifting, fulfilling moment.
That's kind of what I feel like we might get from the Ryan Reynolds If movie.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like same thing with like, I don't know. I assume If's going to be fairly like Detective Pikachu in some way.
Yeah, I think it's going to have a good mix of comedy, but it's probably going to have a couple moments that make you sad.
The thing I like that excites me about If is like John Krasinski being involved, like him directing it. And speaking of that, A Quiet Place Day One, that's a John Krasinski project. I don't know if he's really associated with the Day One thing as much.
Yeah.
But he directed the first two, and you've watched them?
No.
Damn, dude, you just don't watch shit, man.
I mean,
Till I made you start watching shit, you just didn't watch shit.
No, did not. You're right.
All right, more homework, because A Quiet Place Day One is very good. Well, not Day One, A Quiet Place.
I was gonna say, how do you know?
A Quiet Place was very good. Quiet
Because
Place
Day
2 is
One's
good
supposed
too.
to be like a prologue, right?
A prequel, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they play that out as a full movie, because it's always weird when you have you already have 4 hours of screen time essentially for this franchise of stuff that's happened. So how do you make this feel different when it's supposed to be happening beforehand? Knuckles I think is super interesting only because the first two Sonics I think have exceeded people's expectations by such a large level.
I mean, that's part of the reason I'm so excited for it, right?
Yeah.
I think those movies were really good, and Knuckles is definitely my favorite character from the franchise.
So I didn't grow up a Sonic guy. I played the games, but I never owned a Sega. I don't think I ever really owned a Sega. I remember playing Sonic. I remember playing that Dolphin game Echo.
I can't remember which console it was on. I think maybe the GameCube, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. That was my shit.
Every once in a while right now they have that new Sonic game and I think about buying it, but it's never on sale for a cheap enough price.
Frontiers? Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's on sale on Steam and shit. I think about buying it every once in a while because it feels like a game I can just jump into and not have to play for a long period of time or anything. Play for 20, 30 minutes and be try to beat a level type deal.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. Those games are underratedly fun because I don't as much as storyline games are my favorite type of video game. Something to immerse yourself in and invest into characters and the progression of things. It is nice with a video game to just be able to play something for 30 minutes mindlessly and just try to beat it, Crash Bandicoot, Mario, Sonic, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it probably still goes Deadpool 3 just because I'm intrigued about what it can look like. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the movie I'm most looking forward to maybe all year. I think that it's a fantastic franchise and I'm just holding it to the visual level and everything I think is going to look astounding. So I'm for sure on board with that. And then it might go, it's kind of a tie for me between Knuckles and Day One. And then Inside Out and who gives a shit about Wicked, right? You agree? My list, same as your list? We on a team here?
Go team.
Okay. Sick. You want to do a movie review?
Let's get it.
So we did a scream unseen, scene unseen.
Why do you keep saying scene unseen? Why is that so tough for you?
Can you just let me have it, dude?
No. I think I called you on it last time. You said it too.
It's hard to talk this much and not fuck it up sometimes. And we talked about this. Scene unseen still works.
Sure.
I get why Screen Unseen is the name, but Scene Unseen works. So we went and saw Scene Unseen last night. I don't know where to start with this one. We want to start with the movie theater experience again.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually where we start anyways.
This one doesn't have as much of a long thing to go along with it. Usually there's some long elaborate thing that happens to us when we go to these.
Yeah.
This was pretty smooth sailing.
For the most part.
No issues with the seating. This one wasn't sold out. They're doing way more of these now, by the way.
Did you see they had 2 showings of this?
No, last week they did 2 showings.
No, this week they did too.
Really?
Yeah, so they had the 7 o'clock and the 7:10. And the 7 o'clock was maybe 70% full, and that's the one we went to. The 7:10 probably had 8 seats sold when I looked at it at 650.
Well, I think when people are starting to get more hip to this too, and they know that you can go find out what potentially is showing, it might start to take away some of the allure for people.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're getting enough to justify two showings is still good for them. For what it generates on a Monday night for a movie theater. They just announced a new Scene Unseen for 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
I already got a ticket.
I'll have to look at that.
It's a PG movie this time, though. That could be dicey. So the nothing like from a experience standpoint that would be any different from regular viewing experience for a movie. Do you want to get into the crowd now? We'll let it play it. I want to say what movie it was first, because I think it'll make more sense to people why it was like off-putting.
Yeah.
So it's always a mixed bag with this thing, and like the reason we like going is because like it gets you to see things you're not always going to see, right? I think as of right now, the 3 movies I've seen by going to these mystery showings have been things that I probably wouldn't have gone out of my way to see in the theater otherwise.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And like with that being said, like sometimes you're going to hit it out of the park and really enjoy stuff. And sometimes it's going to be like, And this, it took the wind out of my sails a bit once you told me, because when you got there, I thought it was going to be Out of Darkness because that's what they did last week. And I just thought they were going to run it back again since they were doing it so soon afterwards. And I assume we'll get your thoughts on that because I didn't get to go in taste test, right?
Yep.
So I didn't get to go to that one. And I was like, okay, like I've not read great reviews for that movie, but I like a couple of the actors that I saw were in it. It sounds like an interesting idea. And I heard the cinematography was really nice in it, which you kind of confirmed for me. And when you told me it wasn't going to be that, and you were like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Lisa Frankenstein, I was like, fuck, because I said this to you before the movie came on. I was like, I like Catherine Newton. I like, I've been on a Sprouse Boys kick recently, Dylan and Cole. And so I like both of them. And I saw a couple of interviews with them, and they seem to have really good chemistry. I guess they've known each other since they were like 3 or 4 years old.
Oh, shit.
Like they've known each other for a very long time, which I think like we'll get into their performances. But I wasn't excited because I'd seen a little bit of a trailer for this, and I was like, it's just not something I care about. Like, it's not a traditional rom-com. It's like kind of a weird, like, artsy movie in some ways. Like, it's quirky. There's parts of this that that I think I'm gonna be positive on, but then it's like not gonna reflect in my overall like review, I suppose, of the movie.
Yeah.
But there was this weird thing with the audience yesterday.
Yes.
And I said this to you when we left the theater, where it's like the theater you said was about 70% full, right?
Yeah.
And there was like 2 groups specifically, but maybe a trickle, like a few more other people.
No, it's really
just 2. Just 2.
And you can't even say 2 groups. It was just 2 individuals in groups.
Yes. That if you just closed your eyes and only could focus on their reactions and didn't know what was going on for yourself, you would come away being like, they just saw Superbad for the first time.
Yeah.
Like they were just at The Hangover and saw like Mike Tyson knock a motherfucker out while Phil Collins is ripping on the drums for the first time. Like they thought this movie could do no wrong. Like every single joke, some more than others, but like
thing in the world
like we're cackle out loud for the whole theater to hear it. No embarrassment to it. Which I respect the fuck out of. I said that to you while it was happening yesterday. It was off-putting for me. Don't get me wrong. Like I felt uncomfortable for them. Like, and I said to you, like my thing was like, imagine going to a theater on like a date or like for the first time with a girl to see a movie, and you don't know that this is how she laughs. Like we said like she laughs like this lady was laughing like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, it was a cackle.
And like imagine you just do that, and it's like you just have to get up and you're like, we're done. Like here's the money for your Uber.
No,
figure out
we gotta go
home.
We gotta go.
Yeah. So I don't know if it like helped the movie, because
for me, think it hurt the movie.
Okay, why?
Because I think there were definitely scenes where I was like, all right, yeah, that's kind of funny. And then you would hear the fucking cackle and I'd be like, no, it's not that funny. And now I'm being critical of the movie because she's laughing too loud.
Like, I guess it's the thing where comedy is subjective, right?
Yeah.
And like everybody's going to react to that stuff differently. I was going to say that maybe because from a review standpoint of the movie itself, I agree. There was parts that I was like, that's funny or that's clever, Nothing got me to like outwardly laugh, Nothing got me to really break character, so to speak. I was pretty much like, just like, okay, like that's cool, like that's kind of funny, that's cute, whatever. But nothing was like bust your gut laughing.
No.
But I was like the same way I felt for maybe like Barbie, where I'm like, maybe this is just something that I'm missing, you know, with the movie that's not landing for me personally. And that's where I said maybe like it lifts my opinion of it a little bit, where I'm like, this movie, I think, is going to be a divide. I think it's going to end up being a culty movie.
Yeah, I give it that, yeah.
Because I think that there's going to be a group of people who are like, this movie's brilliant. It's really funny. It's a unique vision on a story.
It's different than anything we've gotten recently. I'll give it that much.
Yeah, and I think some of that is true. Like, I do think it's a very unique vision.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say about Cole Sprouse, especially him, I was impressed with the performance.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Great performance
speak,
for not saying a single word.
He doesn't speak till the last minute of the movie.
Did he speak?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
He literally doesn't have lines. It's an hour and 45-minute movie. He has one line of 1 minute of dialogue in that he's in a decent amount of the movie. And I think as his character becomes more human, because I mean, for people who don't realize, and it's not really a spoiler, it's called fucking Lisa Frankenstein, right? It's he plays Frankenstein, essentially. Like, he plays
Frankenstein's monster, yeah.
Yeah, like he plays he plays a corpse that's like resurrected and is slowly coming back to life, essentially.
Yeah.
And she plays, I guess, Frankenstein, to your point, right? Like, she or like Frankenstein's wife. I don't know how that plays out. I'm not familiar enough with the Frankenstein story. And it's just kind of like a weird love story to a point. It's like a mixture of like a weird like high school love story mixed with like a not like Bonnie and Clyde, but like, you know, like two people on the run for a majority of the movie, but not, not on the like legitimately like on the run from the police, but like committing crimes, doing bad stuff, but having like the time of their life and living their own little like pocket of the world that they're living in for those moments.
Yeah.
And I think their ability, and like they had to be really strong in those roles, because I thought the same way he evolves without saying a word, because his emotions, the more human he gets, I think he was able to do a lot with his emotions without saying a fucking word.
Yes.
Like, you could feel when she's talking about like in 3, 2, 1, I like.
Do we even have to 3, 2, 1 anymore? If we're fucking talking about a movie, chances are there's going to be spoilers.
But some weeks we do a better job than others, you know. I think it comes down to the movie, and I think at this point we have a pretty good pulse on what's going to do well in the theater or not. And to your point, like, don't listen to reviews if you really wanted to go see a movie at all, because like go in with your own opinion, not cloud it because of what other people say, would be my general thoughts on that. Like, come back to this later. But yeah, the when she starts talking about like losing her virginity to the other dude and stuff, and like he's not saying anything, he's barely even like moving, but you can just read it.
See how bummed out he is.
Yeah, like that. I thought that stuff was all really good. I also thought that her growth, like throughout the movie, going from like this introvert to extrovert character, and like the clothing change and the way she carried herself and everything, like I thought they were both really good. It's funny because I kind of said this earlier. I think there's aspects of the movie, while I came away pretty overall low on this, from an overall opinion, because it just didn't hit that much for me. The performances from head to toe, I kind of appreciate it. Like, I thought the sister was pretty good the whole way through. I thought the mother, for the short period that she was in it, was the stepmom was like was good in there. Like, it had some good little side characters to it, but the two leads really drive the show for me, and I thought they were really, really solid. I think what it comes down to is, does the humor land for you or not? Right? Like, can you respond like those people did? And maybe not obnoxiously, so the whole theater's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But like more of like are you consistently laughing through it? Like, some jokes hit better than others, but like I just didn't find it to be funny enough for me.
Yeah, I basically left there with an overall impression of didn't love it, didn't hate it. Just kind of fell in the middle for me.
I think I'm a little lower than the middle.
Yeah.
I don't have much more from a critical standpoint to talk about on. I don't know how much more you have to say on it. Like, because there wasn't too much specifics. Like there wasn't anything that like
I mean, you hit on basically like the bright points of the movie. Like it was different. Like the acting performances were great. The development of the characters were great. The story was fine, right? I just think the humor might have missed me a little bit, and I don't know how much of that has to do with our theater experience.
I don't like because I think it's one of those things where for that style of movie, the as great as the acting performances were, and I thought the script was pretty solid, the characters don't resonate with me in any way, you know? I wasn't super emotionally invested into their, like, the love story between, like, a monster and a girl, you know?
Yeah. Wasn't your kind of rom-com.
No. I think that's where it maybe misses a little bit for me, is that I didn't feel, like, emotionally invested into them. I just knew what they were doing was very good. You know, like I just saw their individual performances as like, wow, like these are going to get them a lot more opportunities. Like, and I think the Sprouse brothers in particular, in a way, are going to always kind of need to fight for some level of appreciation because of getting there. Like we talked about Big Daddy last week. It's like when you're on a screen that young, and then they did the Secret Life of
the Sweet Life.
The Sweet Life.
Cody.
Okay, yeah. Like they've just been on screens for so long, and like you see what happens with Zac Efron, right? Like, when you start that young, you're always trying to fight that I was just a kid actor, privileged like stereotype to a point, you know. And I think that a role like this is going to help them continue. Or this was Cole, right? This is Cole.
Yeah, Cole
to be able to break that mold. You know, I think Dylan's gone the route of like the true rom-com route, and that's fine too. Like I think that they're both just trying to like etch out their own lane in movies, and I appreciate that. And I think that this role is going to help a lot. Catherine Newton, I think you're just going to start seeing. She did the Marvel stuff. I think that this is like a jump into more of a credible acting role, and I think you're going to see like the artsy movie thing is always a good route to take something to where like. It's not like this huge box office movie or anything.
Yeah, like I don't think this movie is going to be crazy successful, but I think her performance in it is solid enough to land her other opportunities.
And you're coming out at a time where like there's not a lot of competition for Valentine's Day this year, right?
Yeah.
Funny enough, like Anyone But You's getting a re-release for Valentine's Day. They're doing like an extended cut version of it. I forget what it's called, but like, yeah, it's Anyone But You, but it's just got more scenes in it that they're re-releasing for Valentine's Day. That movie just broke 150 million, by the way, at the box office. Nice. It's like doing phenomenally well.
That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into rankings real quick. So what did you give it for stars?
I gotta pull it up, but I'm pretty sure I gave it 2 stars.
So I made some adjustments around this because of the ranking. So I gave this 2 stars as well. And that's where I say I think I came in, and you said you came in right in the middle. This is a little bit under.
I said somewhere in the middle.
So I came in a little bit below average for me. So this is movie number 6 on the year for me. This is movie number 8 on the year for you.
Yeah, movie number 8. I dropped it in at number 5.
So I also have it at number 5. I have it in front of ISS. I'm toying with the idea of it being better than Night Swim.
I put it above Night Swim.
Yeah, they're both. So here's what I did. I dropped ISS down to 1.5 stars,
which is what I have it at.
Yep. Night Swim and this are both still at 2 stars.
Yep.
I think from a creativity standpoint, I'm probably going to jump this in front of Night Swim, but for right now, I have it behind it.
And that's basically what my thought process was with putting it ahead of Night Swim is, regardless of my overall impression of the movie, I think this movie did a lot more right than Night Swim did.
Yeah, I think it gets points for creativity and trying. Like, not just being cookie cutter isn't a bad thing, you know? Like, I think for the most part, it executed on some stuff. And while, like, again, I don't think butt-gusting laughing, like, there were some parts that I think people are going to really enjoy about this movie.
Yeah.
From it, like, it's very quirky. Like, very, very quirky. So I
the
think
entire movie is a very, like, dark but quirky undertone.
Yeah. All right, and it is time. With no further ado, no further folle ado.
I thought we were gonna get away with an episode while you getting that one off. God damn.
Dante, do you have it?
Do you have it?
Taste. Welcome back to the Taste Test, ladies and gentlemen, where we get into the movies and TV that we have been watching over the past week. Maybe get into some stuff that we're going to be looking forward to coming forward. I wanted you to quickly run us through the others seen, unseen that I have not seen. Out of Darkness, if you can kind of let us know your brief thoughts on it and your ranking.
Gotcha. Should I start out with my thoughts or my ranking? Yeah, I'll start out with my thoughts. Yeah, it makes more sense, right? Before we caught Lisa Frankenstein the week before, I went to see Out of Darkness as my Scream Unseen. This movie was a weird one for me, and mostly because I didn't know much going into it. So I found out obviously during, but then looked up more after the movie that they created a whole language for this movie. So you end up having to watch the whole thing with subtitles. And at first I was like, oh, what the fuck? But then I was like, all right, you know what? I'll give it a chance. And it has a promising premise, but I don't think it executed well. So basically what it is it's like set in the Stone Age. And you have like this group of, I can't even remember how many of them there are. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. And they find this island that they settle on, and it's barren. There's no food anywhere. So they're searching for food and shelter. And, you know, when at night in the darkness, they have this creature hunting them. So that premise alone makes it sound like an interesting movie, but it just doesn't play out well. What I will say is the cinematography of it is great. I think this kind of falls similar to like my review of ISS, where promising story, poor execution, great cinematography.
Now, is it that it's not suspenseful enough? Like, what was the miss?
So I think the suspense was fine. It's more so the way they twisted it at the end, and I guess we'll throw in a 3, 2, 1.
Is it like a Shyamalan twist?
Kinda.
The dinosaur.
Well, the whole time, like they're saying like, oh, there's a demon. It's a demon, and you know the whole thing is as you're getting hunted, you hear this screech, right? And that's kind of like the signature, like, oh, it's coming for you.
The baboon.
No, later you find out it's a fucking kid.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a fucking kid that's just murking them. Like their greatest warrior, the one that got them to survival to be able to get to this island, murked in a matter of seconds. You don't even see it, by the way.
That's always a letdown.
Yeah. And
is it just because it's dark?
Yeah, so it's like dark out. He's pissed because, you know, the first victim was somebody he really cared about. And so he's like dead set on hunting this creature down. And now, you know, we're coming into nightfall and they're like, no, we need to stop, set up a fire. Like it already lured you into the woods. We're fucked. And he's just like, no, I'm going to find him. I'm going to kill it. So he just sprints out and just fucking gets caught. And like they come back and he's all, they bring him back and he's all like mangled and shit. And it's just like, then you later find out, no, it's just a kid that did that to you.
You know what's interesting? So the main actor in this movie, what's his name? Chuku Madu.
Yeah.
He is from the 100. He had a short run towards the end of the 100, and you know they also made a language for the 100.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was an interesting little parallel there.
Yeah.
That he's done a couple things now that have their own unique language. He was also in Game of Thrones, which I feel like had its own language as well.
Yeah. Okay. The other person in here, Sophia Oakley Green.
Yeah, the girl. Yeah.
Yeah, the girl. She was the bright spot of the movie, right? Like her acting performance was great. Like she did a really good job. Again, it's just the story kind of missed for me. She was like the outcast of the group, and like they kind of were against her, but she was the survivor.
So where'd you end up putting this on your list?
On my list, I gave it also 2 stars. I put it ahead of ISS at second to last.
How many movies have you given 2 stars to now?
Lisa Frankenstein, Night Swim, and Out of Darkness.
Okay. Have you started making any changes to any of your rankings? Because like I ended up dropping down ISS a little bit.
When I was putting in Lisa Frankenstein, I was considering dropping Night Swim to 1.5. but I still think that was a better movie than Out of Darkness, and I didn't want to drop that to 1.5 because of what it accomplished as far as like the cinematography and the acting. Still think was very good. So I kind of just remained leaving it at 2 stars. That stuff may change later, but for now it holds.
Yeah, I think the list has to be fluid based on the other stuff that you're seeing, because then it becomes your standard starts to change for where things sit.
Yeah,
because like I said, originally I had ISS at 2 stars because kind of the same stuff you're saying, where I thought they executed some stuff well, but overall the movie was a little flat. But it's
this movie would have been way better if you just let it be a fucking monster. But instead, they wanted to turn it into this whole message about like, oh, it's a person and they're just as scared as we are, and we're
is
not
it just
different.
the kid though? Is the kid of parents? Like,
so it's just the kid that's doing the hunting, but there's another guy that's with him when they like follow him back to where he's been staying.
Okay, so there is more than one.
So the other guy isn't the killer though; it was just the kid.
That's why it would have been weird if it was just the kid by himself.
But it's just the kid that's terrorizing them. Like the guy had nothing to do with it.
And the kid's just protecting his land.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not on a must watch list. It's not something people need to get out to the theaters and see.
No.
Cool. So where do I want to start with what I've been watching? So I finished 2 series over the past couple weeks since we didn't do a taste test last week. I had talked to you and D last week off camera. Again, actually, I really want to thank you again, D. Last week, we did the top 5 best movies in the 90s. Awesome episode. If you haven't checked it out yet, go and check it out. Maybe one of our most fun episodes we've done, in all honesty. How many reviews does it have on? Dante's looking up Rotten Tomatoes for Out of Darkness.
Because as I was talking about it, I was like, this is the kind of movie Rotten Tomatoes would probably recommend. And of course, I was right.
How many reviews, though? 26
reviews. They have it at a 92%.
Yeah, I mean, they overvalue cinematography and like messaging a lot of the times. I find with critical reviews.
Yeah.
What was the ISS box office? I mean, not box Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't think I ever looked that up. 62.
So still better than what we have. The audience is like flipped from them. 44.
Yeah.
So I talked to you guys last week on camera, off camera rather, about I had started watching this TV series called Fate, a Winx saga. I read reference to this earlier. It's very much like a Harry Potter universe type show, where a girl doesn't know she's like magical. She's a fairy, and finds out when she almost murders her parents because she's a fire fairy, and almost burns their house down and like gives her mother like 3rd-degree burns. And she gets brought into this like magical world, and it's actually pretty fun from there. Like I'm not going to go into heavy detail or anything. This can be a larger point I want to talk about with this. But if anybody's just like into like the fantasy like type show and wants to watch like kind of an easy watch with some interesting storylines to it, and the thing I appreciate about these like fantasy Netflix shows is they don't have to abide by the rules that like a CW show would have to rely on. So they're able to swear, and it feels a little bit more authentic to the way like I think real 18-year-olds would talk, and like the dialogue just feels a lot better. And so you're pulling it up here. The one thing I'm not familiar with this at all, but apparently the Winx Club was a Nickelodeon show originally, that they turned into a live action show on Netflix for a couple of seasons. And when I was telling Dee about this, Dee had mentioned another show.
Is there a second season?
There's 2 seasons.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen the first.
So when I was talking to you guys about it, Dee had asked me if I had seen this show called The Order as well on Netflix. So he's like, it's kind of like that. It's really good as well. It's about this magic cult that's at a school, and then werewolves and like their fight between them, kind of. So then I finished the Winx saga and was like, okay, I'll check that out. And I ended up watching that. There's 2 seasons of this as well. I finished this last night. Also pretty enjoyable. Like I actually think The Order may be better than the Winx saga.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring both of these up, other than just say I watched them and I think they can be an okay watch, is I have a little bit of a gripe or a frustration because it's not something within their control. It's nothing in the way that they executed things. Netflix canceled both of these shows after 2 seasons. Netflix canceled both of these shows after 2 seasons without them knowing that they weren't going to bring them back for a 3rd season. So both shows leave on very important cliffhangers. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Like, it shows that, like, can I ask your opinion on something?
What's that?
Is it better to have a show last too long, but get it like tied up nicely at the end, or for it to leave too early when you still enjoy it, but you're left with this like unsatisfied feeling?
I think you need something in the middle. I think you need finality, but you need to also not feel like it's being dragged out.
Yeah, and so I think that like a good season finale should have resolution of a storyline, but also set you up with some ideas of where it's going to go. And I think the Wink saga like kind of set up a little bit better in this regards, where they wrapped up their season 2 storyline, but then they set up some stuff for season 3 that you are never going to get a payoff on. The Order leaves off like
on a massive,
yes,
yeah,
like a massive cliffhanger, and you're like, fuck, like what were they going to do in the next season?
And like now you're not going to get any
I'm never
payoff on that question.
I'm never going to find out. Like the show ended in 2020. They ain't bringing it back, you know?
Yeah. I was trying to figure out if I had seen this show.
Yeah.
I have not, but there's another show similar to these, also on Netflix, called First Kill. Same thing. It has 1 season, not getting renewed. But it's along the same lines. Like I think it's like a vampire and a monster hunter. They kind of like fall in love, but they're not supposed to be, like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought it played really well, and you won't see where it goes.
It's just like a fucking bummer, dude. Like, and like it's one of those things where once you get invested into the universe that they build with these things, you do want to see like 3 or 4 seasons of it. And like each season with the Order is 10 episodes long. I think that the Fate show is only like 19 episodes in total. So it's like there's just not like you really enjoy it, and you're able to watch it over like a 3 or 4 day period, but like you can't, like it's just gone.
Yeah,
you have it and then it's gone, and it's like super disappointing. If you're into like the fantasy genre at all though, and you're looking for something to watch that's kind of a short, easy watch, with some decent character development and some I think pretty interesting storylines that they were able to do, without being like, it's not like super, it's still budgeted in a way that like things look clean and look good, but nothing's like movie theater quality either,
Yeah.
I would recommend them. I would definitely recommend them. It's a genre that I think I'm going to keep diving into. Netflix has some other recommendations that are along those lines, like you were just talking about First Kill, which I'd never heard of, but maybe I'll look at that one. Although you tell me it's only 1 season, makes it harder for me to like.
It's going to be another one to disappoint you, because I don't think you're going to get anything from it when you're done.
It's tough because a lot of the other stuff is that CW stuff, and like as much as I love a lot of the things the CW has done, the CW also does like 18 to 20 episode seasons, and there's a lot of filler shit. Whereas like because these seasons are 8 or 10 episodes long, you're just progressing the storyline with most episodes. There's not a ton of filler in them. And I think that's what it made it enjoyable.
I think that's the perfect length for a season.
Yeah,
like that 10 to 13 episodes. Like
I think it's really good, but it's like if you if you don't get the finish to the story, it just doesn't.
Well, yeah, no, obviously.
So yeah, that's been my big watch of the past couple weeks.
All right. I got another one that you had watched recently that I watched.
Okay.
So, last week we did our comedy draft, and to brush up on what was my favorite Austin Powers before you stole it from me, I watched The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Okay.
And I'm not here to talk about that. After that, what came up recommended was The Other Zoe.
Oh.
And I ended up watching that.
Threw on a little rom-com.
Yeah.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
it was recommended because Heather Graham is the mom in that.
Yes, yeah.
So, I watched that, and that was actually really good.
Yeah, not like not a revolutionary take or anything, but again, like I thought the 2 lead actors had like good chemistry. Do you recognize one of the guys from the movie, the main boy?
Where am I supposed to recognize him from?
We did a show about him.
Is he from Outer Banks?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Toppa.
Oh shit. That's why he looked familiar.
Yeah. That was the original thing that caught my attention about the movie. I really like the female lead too. I've been watching like
because I know you watch the after shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's where she's from, and like that's where I like her. But yeah, Topper. Making a run in the rom-com world.
I like that for him.
Yeah. It's a good route.
It's nice to not see him be a dickhead, you know?
Yeah, he's super likable in the movie, honestly. I liked like he, so I don't know how much I gave the plot in that, didn't I? Or like so he gets he bonks his head, gets amnesia.
Yeah.
And he thinks that
she thinks that she's his girlfriend.
She doesn't think that. He thinks that that's his girlfriend, Zoe, and the doctors tell her like you can't upset him like it could like fuck up his brain basically. So she carries the lie over into like a family vacation that she goes on with them because she's trying to bang the cousin.
Yeah.
Cousin's a dirtbag, by the way.
I mean, you saw that coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the way it kind of plays out.
It's part of the rom-com formula.
Yeah, I like the way it kind of played out towards the end of it too. I'm trying to think, like, I don't think I watched anything else because when you watch like 2 full TV shows,
it kind of eats up a lot of time.
Yeah, like I've just been kind of getting home and like I do my normal like YouTube watching. I don't know do I want to talk like the thing is like where these come out like we have like a weird release schedule versus when we record them. It's always like tough for me to talk about current events because then it feels like it's going to be a little outdated.
Yeah.
The WWE has been in a tizzy though, Dante.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. They trend it for like 72 hours straight. And I'm not talking about the Vince McMahon stuff. I'm not going to talk about that here. That's a whole other tizzy. It's very fucked up. It's dark. It's not really something we talk about here. I can't make jokes about that. It's too serious. But The Rock came back. And everybody's been fearing that The Rock was going to come back because they've had a 2-year storyline build up to this WrestleMania with this guy, Cody Rhodes, Dante, who returned to the company. He won the Royal Rumble 2 years ago and was main evented against Roman Reigns last year. Everybody thought he was going to win the title. Roman Reigns has been, up until that point, had been champion for 2 years, which is like iconic in modern day wrestling to be a champion for that long. Everybody thought that Cody Rhodes was going to take the belt from him and like the whole mantra is finish his story. He didn't, and everybody was shocked. So the whole thing has been it's a whole other year of build up to this year's WrestleMania, and he won the Royal Rumble again. And it's like, okay, like, so now Roman's going on over 3 years of being the champion. Cody has maintained his popularity all the way through all of that. If anything, has grown in popularity. Everybody's pumped he wins the Royal Rumble. We're going to finally see him go to WrestleMania, and he's going to be the one to finally beat Roman Reigns on this monstrous 3-year title run. And then The Rock gets named to the board of directors for TKO. The Rock is Roman Reigns' cousin in real life. There's a storyline there. People have been clamoring for him to wrestle for a few years now. And The Rock leverages his power. This is all speculation because it can be a work with wrestling too. But like, it's believed he leverages his power and puts himself in the spot to wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania and takes away Cody's story that he's been building for 2 years to be the one who finally beats him and takes away his WrestleMania spot. So it sends like the internet fans into a tizzy this past weekend. The Rock, they put a YouTube video of the segment on SmackDown last week, Dante.
Yeah.
50,000 likes, 300,000 dislikes. The Rock is posting stuff on X and getting ratioed in the comments by people. The fucking Rock.
Damn.
The Rock has how many? Can you look up how many followers The Rock has on X? It's got to be 200 million, right? Like some absurd number.
17.1.
Okay. I feel like it's Instagram that has like the absurd follower counts, right?
Maybe.
But so he has 17 million on there, more than any person who's commenting on his fucking posts, right? And he's getting
he
ratio
396 on
Instagram. I feel like Instagram always has like super inflated numbers. He's getting ratioed by fans in his comment section for taking the spot from Cody Rhodes. So the internet was just crazy about it. Last night on Raw, they had like a segment with Cody Rhodes, and the crowd was chanting "Rocky sucks." Like it felt like it was the '90s all over again. It was just kind of crazy. And so yeah, that's been like the other big thing for me going on right now is it's like this is the biggest time of the year for a wrestling fan is the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania is like our Super Bowl season for being a wrestling fan. This is what you wait all year to get to. Grand finale of the mall is what they call it. And I don't have much more to put into it other than that. Like I really want Cody Rhodes to insert himself. We have a press conference on Thursday, which in some way will at least let us know where it's going because it's going to be like the kickoff press conference for the run up until WrestleMania. The Rock's going to be there. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, like all the main players are going to be at this press conference. So you're going to get some type of angle to finally like let you know what their plan is because right now it's either Rock versus Roman. Do they pivot? And because of how much the crowd has kind of rebelled against this, and do they go back on their plans and do something else? Like, I don't think The Rock's going to let that happen. So it's like everybody's really interested to see where this plays itself out. But I will say this. I've been a wrestling fan for my whole life. I was a wrestling fan through some dark periods. There's a lot of people who love the Attitude Era, and it's really cool to say you're a fan of wrestling during the Attitude Era. I will tell you, it wasn't cool to tell people that you were a fan of wrestling from like 2010 till like 2018. Like people weren't like, oh, like, okay, you watch wrestling? Like, oh, you know this person. Like people knew John Cena, but they didn't know fuck all else. You know, it was the period of time when like Shawn Michaels had kind of hung it up. Triple H was fading away. And they didn't have new stars coming along, right? Like it wasn't like these guys that you had grown up on anymore. And there were some dark years where wrestling fucking sucked to be a fan of in there. And I hung on, like, and there is a portion of the audience that hung on at different levels. Like I would say like I wasn't as hardcore as like I was when I was a kid or anything, but I still paid attention every single week and knew what the fuck was going on. I read the rumors and listened to the podcasts and whatever else. But it's vindicating to be at this point now and what it's been over the past couple years because like wrestling maybe is more popular than it's ever been. And it's better than it's ever been, which is kind of cool. And that's what's driving. Like, there's no coincidence that The Rock is back. No. Like, The Rock came back because they're drawing bigger house shows than they have in a ton of years. They're bringing in more money than they have in a very long time. Their ratings are up, and he's just hitching his wagon. They wanted him to come back plenty of other times when he wasn't 50 years old. And he didn't do it, you know? And I think this is the first time that for The Rock. I mean, we talk about him on here often, like the egomaniac side of him, narcissistic, but also a good guy, right? I think to his core is a generous, good person. This feels like the egomaniac aspect of The Rock a little bit, though, where it's like there's something I could take from this, you know? And I'm sure in his own mind is convinced he's only going to elevate it. And him being involved is going to elevate it. I just don't know. Like, it's going to make a ton of money one way or another with or without him. They had already sold all the tickets for this WrestleMania a year ago. The second those tickets went on sale before anything was announced, these tickets were sold. So it's not he can't point to the ticket sales and be like, look what I did. Like, that's where it looks a little bit more like, oh, you're just attaching yourself to something and making yourself a ton of money. Like on something that's already successful without your involvement.
Because you have to assume like he can't have a long run here, so Roman Reigns is going to beat him.
I mean, you could do. It's interesting. Like you could do him winning and then Roman winning it back. My first idea would not be I don't want him to beat Roman Reigns. I think it's an insult to a 3-year run with the championship and the idea of like. The guys that are there building this brand every single, like the person who beats Roman Reigns should be able to take that momentum and carry it into the next, like, you know, reign.
And that's like, my whole point is like The Rock's had his time.
But is he, like the thing about wrestling is wrestling has a lot of politics, man. Because while it's like everybody who points to the fake thing, but you know what the thing about something being fake is? Somebody has to agree to lose.
Yeah.
Like, And is the Rock going to allow his ego to let himself take that pin? You know,
they probably put a twist where somebody interrupts the match or something, right?
So they've done this like the Bloodline storyline always has like some type of interference and stuff like that. It'd be nice if they don't do it. Somebody put out there the idea that like maybe you get to the press conference and The Rock puts himself in as like guest referee instead of fighting him for the title, and Cody still gets the match and The Rock's able to hold off the interference and stuff like that potentially. I think that would be an interesting way to take it, and then you still get The Rock involved, so you can still get people wanting to show up to watch it because The Rock's there, but it's not taking away from what the actual storyline that has been there for 2 years, and the storyline that's going to continue past this when The Rock's no longer involved. Because maybe you get The Rock here, and then you get another rematch with Roman at some point, but yeah, like The Rock's not going to be doing week-to-week wrestling. He can't. Yeah. The last 2 times he wrestled were 10 years ago against John Cena, and he got hurt both times. Because it's fake, but it's fucking physical. You know, yeah. So I don't know. I just want to talk about like it's that time of the year. There's a lot of controversy going on in the wrestling world. Every week, it's like something new's kind of popping up right now, which is really fun. Except for the Vince McMahon stuff. That stuff sucks. And again, like fuck that guy. Terrible person. Everybody always knew he was a terrible person. It's just more confirmed now. But I'll probably be talking about wrestling more, at least up until WrestleMania, because it is that time of the year. And throwing in a little bit more here and there for that too, because that is what I'm invested in right now.
All right.
Cool. There was did you have anything else on your taste test before I took over with this long diatribe?
No.
Okay. All right. We are gonna wrap it up there then. Again, we turn chicken shit into chicken salad. No topics. Still go an hour and a half. We can talk, motherfuckers. Check us out.
Yeah.
Again, we appreciate you for sticking around. If you've gotten this far, thank you so much. If you could drop a like on this video, comment down below with some of your thoughts on what we talked about. Tell a friend, ask a friend, subscribe to the pod here on YouTube. If you could, we are also on all audio platforms. If you don't watch on video, you want to listen to us in the car, whatever it might be, don't watch and drive. That's my lesson to you for the week. But you can listen to us on anywhere audio podcasts are provided. Dante, are they able to check you out anywhere? Are we still doing this?
What's the point, right?
Yeah.
It'll be on the screen up there.
Hey, do you think I should buy Harry Potter? We have like a minute here, so make this quick.
Oh, like the video game?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Harry Potter, but yeah, it is really
Hogwarts.
Yeah.
It's on sale for $35 on
It's a
on
good
Steam.
game. I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay. Thank you for that. That's a recommendation for the people out there, too. If you have Steam, you play on PC, it's on sale for $35 till like February 11th or something like that. This will probably have already been out after February 11th at that point. So, yeah. So don't bother. Sorry. Keep an eye out for a sale, though. And with that being said, we appreciate you so much, and we will see you next week. Bang. Bang. Adios, fale, adieu. Later to you.
Poet, and he didn't know it.
For those with good taste.